The smartest investors of our times are buying up Alibaba. That is because the business has a huge moat around it. There is no other business in the largest market of the world that has the logistics, that has the reach in the Western markets, that provides so many jobs to so many cities in inner China, like Alibaba. That is the moat this business has. Moat, according to Warren Buffett, is a castle in middle of the water with the duke that is running the castle, and there is no other castle that is in safe as position than this castle. And that is what Alibaba has. It has the logistics, it has the reach in Western markets, it has a touch with local Chinese markets that connects the Western markets. That is the moat this business has. This moat will make Alibaba the next Amazon of China and Asia. But short term fears in the Western markets are keeping a lot of investors away from this company, and they are losing a lot, while a lot of the long term investors are bagging up this stock like crazy, and they are the ones who are setting themselves up to win big. As Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Right now, short term investors can only see short term problems and they are fearful, while the long term investors are seeing the long horizons and they see victory. One of those greatest investors of our time is Charlie Munger. Here is what he has to say. Charlie Munger is one of the greatest investors of our times, and he is the co founder of Berkshire Hathaway alongside Warren Buffett. He is known for his straight to point answers and logical investment decisions. Here are some of his thoughts on China and Alibaba.
The Daily Journal recently bought a large position in Alibaba after founder Jack Ma had been reprimanded by the Chinese Communist Party, and Ma's other company, Ant, was not allowed to proceed with its IPO. What are your current thoughts on China and whether the communist leaders will allow businesses with strong leadership to flourish in decades to come?
Well, I think that the Chinese government will allow businesses to flourish. It was one of the most remarkable things that ever happened in the history of the world when a bunch of committed communists just looked at the prosperity of places like Singapore and said, the hell with this, we're not going to stay here in poverty, we're going to copy what works. And they changed communism. They just accepted Adam Smith and added it to their communism. They said, now we have communism with Chinese characteristics, which is China with a free market with a bunch of billionaires and so forth. And they made that shift. They deserve a lot of credit. Warren and I are not quite as good at that as changing our minds in many cases.
Yeah.
And that was a remarkable change coming from such a place. And of course, it's worked like gangbusters. It had this enormous growth in the average income of the average Chinese. They've lifted 800 million people out of poverty fast. And there's never anything like it in the history of the world. So my hat is off to the Chinese. And I think they will continue to allow people to make money. They've learned it works. The Chinese, I loved what the guy said in the first place. I don't care whether the cat is black and white as long as it catches mice. That's my kind of talk.
Gavin Smith from Berkshire, England, he asked, Mr. Munger is a champion of Chinese stocks. How concerned is he about Chinese government interference as seen recently with Ant Financial, Alibaba, and Mr. Jack Ma? What, for example, is to stop the Chinese government from simply deciding one day to nationalize BYD?
Well, I consider that very unlikely. I think Jack Ma was very arrogant to be telling the Chinese government how dumb they were and how stupid their policies were and so forth. Considering their system, that is not what he should have been doing. I think the Chinese have behaved very, very shrewdly in managing their economy, and they've gotten better results than we have in managing our economy. I think that will probably continue. And sure, we all love the kind of civilization we have. I'm not saying I want to live in China. I prefer the United States. But I do admire what the Chinese have done. How can you not do it? Nobody else has ever taken a big country out of poverty so fast and so long. And what I see in China now just staggers me. There are factories in China that are just absolutely full of robots and are working beautifully. They're no longer using peasant girls to beat the brains out of our little shoe companies in America. They are joining the modern world very rapidly, and they're getting very skillful at operating. Well, I like what's happening in China, and I think the United States ought to get along with China, and China ought to get along with the United States. Why does Li Lu succeed so mightily? Well, partly he's sort of a Chinese Warren Buffett. That really helps. And partly he's fishing in China, not in this oversearched, overpopulated, highly competitive American market. And there's still pockets of ignorance and lassitude in China that gave him some unusual opportunities. The first rule in fishing has always been fish where the fish are. And the second rule of fishing has always been don't forget rule number one. And Li Lu just went where the fishing was good. And the rest of us are like cod fishermen who are trying to catch cod where the fish have been fished out. It doesn't matter how much you work when there's that much competition.
You guys just heard. As you guys just heard, Charlie Munger says it does not matter if the cat is black or white, as long as it catches the mites. He also thinks that China knows the system they invented works, and that is what they are going to keep doing it. That is why they are going to keep investing into their businesses and making billionaires out of normal people. They will let their business flourish. They will not kill their business with overregulation. They will manage it for the people to make it safer for everybody, but they will not kill the business that is making them, that is their golden goose. He also has a strong point on Jack Ma. He criticizes Jack Ma and he thinks that Jack Ma did a huge mistake criticizing the government, calling it stupid. And that is his stance on China. And he is one of the most straightforward and the smartest logical thinkers of our times. His mental models are just fabulous. I've read his book and he is one of the best thinkers out there. Daily Journal, which is Charlie Munger's investment company, bought 165,320 shares in Alibaba. It now makes 19% of his 197 million portfolio, and he only holds 5 stocks in that portfolio. His stake was worth 37.5 million at the end of March in Alibaba. It is now one of his biggest holdings. That is, he's backing up what he's claiming. He's backing up his investments in China. He's backing up what he's saying about Alibaba and about China. He is bullish. Even if Jack Ma leaves as a CEO, he's buying more. To give you guys an update on my portfolio, I have not received any new dividends this week, and my monthly total in dividends for this month is $251, which is an annual yield of 1.7% for my portfolio. Once the portfolio matures in later stages, I will take this yield to 4 to 5% and move the focus away from growth centric companies to stable passive income. With that said, this was the Frugal Investor giving you Charlie Munger's thoughts on Alibaba and a quick dividend income update. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And see you in the next one.